Hey, what is up, mortals? It is BubblyNami here, and welcome to part 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen crossed with My Hero Academia. Just wanted to greet you guys by saying sit back and relax. You are in for a treat, and so we begin. Okay, so this is what we'll do. We find Megumi, and I punch him. Then we'll save Nobara, Itadori said. That won't work. Though Nobara is a villain, remember? It's the bomb we need to get to. Also, finding and punching Megumi isn't much of a strategy, stupid. Mahito replied to Itadori. They were currently having Hero Foundations class, and the class of 1A were currently having a training session. So what do you suggest we do, big brains? Itadori said to Mahito, slightly annoyed his plan was undermined. Oh, it's simple really. Come closer, let me tell you. The boys drew closer to each other. Itadori listened while Mahito explained the plan to him. The training began. Itadori began to scale the flight of stairs of the building. The villains were located at the last floor. Quickly he dashed up the stairs with inhumane speed, utilizing his powerful leg muscles. Itadori had already scaled 2 flights of stairs. He wondered what Megumi was planning. He desperately wanted to wipe that smug look off his face. He didn't have to wonder too much. As he was about to climb the 3rd flight of steps, he was flung backwards with a sharp tug on his calf. Itadori tumbled and rolled, as he quickly regained his balance, rolling into a crouched position. Huh? What the hell happened? The boy said, confused. The building was barely lit and allowed for shadows to be cast everywhere. A perfect terrain for Megumi. I knew you'd be the one rushing in blindly, though I'd have to wait a bit long, but even your stupidity surprises me. That was really quick. From the shadows at the stairs, Megumi's figure slowly rose, standing tall with an air of composure, his eyes shimmering like blue flames. I'm guessing you don't have a plan to beat me, right? Where's your partner? You split up? Megumi questioned Itadori. It didn't matter to him whether those two made a plan to split, while Itadori tried to distract him. A few words he had with Nobara made it clear she would hold her own. Ha! I don't know. He could be anywhere. You'll have to go and find him, idiot! Itadori mocked. That won't be necessary. Considering there's only one objective to this training, the bomb is safely monitored by my partner. My job is to keep you here. Simple. You're an idiot, but your abilities would be a problem for my partner. Megumi continued as he took a crouched stance. Oh, you think I'll let you stop me? I'll beat your ass quickly and move ahead, Itadori said confidently. Rising to his feet, he held his fists up as a blue aura formed in the space, cloaking both of his fists. He gave a confident smile. Dream on, Megumi scoffed. He clasped both his hands together, one over the other. He formed a dog shape with his hands. Invoke Cerberus Helios. The shadows of the ground bubbled to life, swirling up and transforming into 2 big wolves, one with dark fur and one with white fur. Fushigoro's quirk, Shadowmancer, was quite the complex and powerful one. With it, he could animate and give life to shadows, making creatures from his thoughts. Though there were limitations to what he could create, and he or whatever he wished could also travel through shadows from a point to another, as far as he could see his destination prior to his travel. Though even that power came with his own limitations. The hound snarled and dashed towards Yuji. Itadori prepared himself, but just as they came close enough, the hound sunk into the shadows. Itadori had heightened senses and great battle awareness. It was sometimes like he was built for war. Once they sunk, he knew they would reappear any moment, and definitely from his blind spot. Without even turning his head, Itadori spun his right leg backwards, driving the sole of his shoe into the maw of the dark hound that reappeared behind him, sending it rolling. The white hound appeared headfirst directly below Itadori, attempt to snap at his legs. With his right leg still up, Itadori jumped high off the ground with his left leg. He clenched his fist, about to drive it right into the wolf, but Megumi was right in front of him, with a flying dropkick, aiming to drive his boots into Itadori's chest. The pink-haired boy made a block across his chest, while his two arms forming a wall and taking the brunt of the kick. He was sent flying, but Itadori landed on his feet with a backflip using the kick's momentum to his advantage. This was what made Megumi dangerous. He could summon powerful creatures and keep his opponent distracted while he attacks with seasoned martial arts techniques. Tch, that pesky fighting style of yours. But don't worry, I'll beat you right now. Itadori smacked his knuckled fists together, the collision letting out a slight ripple of air around them. Itadori's quirk was a complex one too. With his already abnormal prowess, Itadori's quirk, Force Drift, is a special emitter quirk. It allowed Itadori to absorb a certain amount of force on the attack on collision, amplify it, and repel it almost instantly, making it seem like he possessed unearthly strength. It was an amazing quirk, but like all the others, it had its many drawbacks that Megumi would easily exploit if he found them out. Itadori leaned forward slightly. With an instantaneous burst, he charged at Megumi, almost like he was sailing through the air. He aimed to lash out with a simple punch to his opponent's midsection. With his strength, it easily knocked out Megumi. His fist lashed out for a punch like a snake, once he got close enough. But the White Wolf leapt in a way, charging at the punch with a headbutt to protect Megumi. Itadori didn't waste any time. He activated his quirk once the hound's head collided with his fist. He absorbed the force, amplified it, and repelled it. It sent a huge blow that erupted with a big air blast, pushing everything from the hound away from his fist. He hoped the attack would stun Megumi too. The hound had been destroyed from the impact, reverting back to the shadows, but Megumi was no longer in sight. Itadori knew what was coming next. Megumi had definitely entered the shadows. From here in, it was textbook strategy, and he was definite Megumi would come up from behind him. He turned instantly, aiming to land a blow on Megumi, certain he was behind him. Only an empty hallway greeted him. You know, I don't always appear behind people. Just anywhere there's shadows. Obviously you'd think I'd come out behind you. Rookie mistake. From Itadori's left side, he heard the calm and collected voice of his classmate. The pink-headed tried to change his direction to face his adversary in time, but he was too late. Fushiguro leapt from the shadows with a huge leaping knee, driving it into Itadori's chin. The force was enough to lift Itadori off the ground. Left disoriented in the air for a split second, enough time for Fushiguro to follow up. Fushiguro leapt back, away from Itadori, and made a sign, activating his quirk. Invoke Slytherin, Fushiguro said, curling his index and middle finger like a snake. The shadows around him swirled, and from it a large snake manifested, about 10 feet long. It shot out from the shadows straight at Itadori. Itadori managed to regain his composure in the air and saw the incoming snake. Balling up his fist once again, he was prepared to take it on with a punch. You solve all your problems with blows. That quirk of yours is particularly useless against flexibility and holds. Megumi taunted. The snake evaded the blow, swerving to Itadori's left. It coiled itself around the boy's frame, quickly, and swallowed him whole. All Might, don't you think you should stop this match? A snake just ate Itadori, Mineta said to his teacher, shaking as he did. The class of 1A watched the intense battle with rapt attention, preparing for theirs.
No, young Mineta. Itadori is safe. Megumi used his quirk to restrain him wisely. He won't be hurt. But it's still a wonder where young Mahito is,
All Might said with a puzzled face. He searched his screen but couldn't find the lad anywhere. He saw both Itadori and Mahito having a conversation. The boys went to a blind spot to talk, but only Itadori returned. The boy was truly nowhere to be found, even in the area where the bomb was. Nobara was waiting with apparent boredom, keeping guard, but still no Mahito. The snake slithered around with its belly full after swallowing its prey whole. Now that's a wrap. I can go find the other idiot, Megumi said to himself, itching to conclude this bout. Huh? Fushiguro turned to his attention to the snake. Its frame was being distorted violently. and from its midsection, a hole began to grow as two hands ripped the snake's stomach apart.
If you think all I've got are blows, then why not try me and see?
Itadori's head popped out from within the snake. He was smiling, but not a smile that gave you warmth. He had a hellish look on his face. His eyes were menacing red, with his canines razor sharp. Weird markings adorned his face as he stared Fushiguro in the face. The snake exploded in a flurry of shadows, and with it went Itadori's demeanor. It was almost like a glitch. One Itadori didn't notice, but Fushiguro did. The boy began to question whether he actually saw that, because Itadori stood there grinning from cheek to cheek like nothing happened. Fushiguro shook his head. It was probably just his imagination. The rest of the class and All Might didn't even get a proper view of what transpired, given Itadori was within the snake, but Megumi did, and even he was not sure what he saw.
So, this should be the right spot, huh?
Itadori said. It appeared like he was talking to himself. Fushiguro wondered who he was referring to, but didn't wonder long enough. Itadori leapt in the air, floating up to the ceiling with ease. He pulled back his fist and let a punch fly, punching a hole in the hallway above theirs. He twisted in the air and using his torque to fling something through the hole. A small artifact that looked like a human doll. It shot through the air and embedded itself in the roof on the next floor where the bomb was.
Now my job is to keep you here while we win this,
Itadori said to Fushiguro confidently, who wondered what was going on. Nobara heard all the ruckus below. The girl had been idle too long, clearly missing out on all the action. Fushiguro's probably working on the two of them. I'll be bored to death this way. I better go down and help him. There's no way they're getting to this bomb. She resolved to herself, as the brunette hurried to the rendezvous with her partner.
Nobara, can you hear me? Keep an eye out. I think they've got something planned.
Fushiguro's voice rang into her ear from the comm. It made her stop in her tracks just outside the door of the room as she noticed a weird miniature figure roll past her. It was shaped like a human's head with hollow eyes and a wide mouth, but it was rolling down the room unhinged. The figure morphed quickly, just as it rolled into half of the room. The figure of Mahito appeared, making a dash for the bomb.
Haha, that stupid Itadori. He threw me into a wall. That hurt like hell. But now we'll win this,
he said as he ran like a maniac towards his goal. A metallic sound whistling as something sharp sliced through the air and embedded itself in Mahito's right leg. A nail drove right into his leg. Just as it did, a weird hexagram symbol projected just above the nail as Mahito's leg turned purple and froze, dead in its spot, halting his moving. Hex. Nobara looked on to Mahito, nails between her fingers and a hammer in arms, with a cheeky smile on her face. Seems like I spoke too soon, but finally, pray, she said, ecstatic.
Oh, tut, darling. You don't want to dance with the devil. He'll steal your soul,
Mahito said to her with a smile plastered across his face.
Thank you all for sticking around, and I hope that you're enjoying it so far. Before you leave, we would just like to let you know that we the Celestials have many other channels for your entertainment and viewing purposes. All the information you'll need is right below here in the description, so feel free to check out all the other incredible projects our team creates. Secondly, on behalf of we the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in the production of today's awesome content. Their details will be in the description below. That's all for today's video, so goodbye and have a divine day.